Well, how did you guys meet Ross?
We added him on MySpace actually, and I guess he listens to all the bands that had him on MySpace, and I was at work and checked my MySpace and there's an email from him and said, "Hey, you guys are awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, if there's anything I can do, let me know." I was like, "Oh God!" I told her that it was one of my friends making like a fake profile, messing with me, and so like I called him to their face. I'm like, "Dude, Ross Robinson just emailed us," and he's like, "What? No way!" And so I emailed him back. I said, "Yeah, cool, awesome." I said, "Well, we just finished some demos for our new stuff," and he's like, "Awesome." He goes, "I want to produce your next record." And I was like,
"Wow,
okay, sure." And I mean, honestly, we didn't believe it was him until he showed up at our practice space, like a week later, and like, because why would Ross Robinson be emailing us randomly on MySpace and saying, "I want to produce your record"? So it was a trip.
Odd, and then, but once he came and visited us, it was all like, okay, well, we know we're doing this. And then it pretty much got solidified over the next month or two when it was happening. And then here we are, half done, time-wise anyway.
So was this a conscious effort to add him on MySpace? Or
no.
Just randomly?
I didn't even, because it was a picture, like, because it did from the Idiot Pilot site, and it was just, I just gathered friends, like a bot,
for sure.
And he was just on there, and it was just a pic. It was him on a motorcycle, so you don't even know it was him. And I was like, it didn't. No, it wasn't. He was
some guy who likes this band.
Right? Yeah. It was purely an accident. It was a great accident, but it was purely an accident.
Wow. So when did this happen?
End of October, and it all came together super fast, and like he came and showed up like a week later, and listened to some songs, talked to Steve, kind of like tapped our brains a little bit, and then was like, okay, yeah, I want to do this, and then we just talked back and forth and figured out what's what, and then like he had said like, oh, okay, we're gonna do it in March, and then Korn was gonna go in, and so it got pushed back, and then Korn went on tour, and so we got an email like 2 months ago that said April 20th you're going in. So
wow,
that was it. Perfect for us. Got us going, and we had to write like we never wrote before to get to as much breadth of material to bring in. We did a pretty good job before it was time to go in and record.
Yeah.
We came in with a 90% finished material. Boy, have we been working on it real hard.
So he comes to your practice space, and he checks you guys out. I know when I talked to him, he said that one time he went and he saw this band in like London or something because their demo was amazing.
Yeah.
And he was so disappointed because they sucked live. Did you guys feel any pressure when he came?
Oh, I was scared to death. You're totally freaked out, like, because you grow up listening to bands, and you know what he's done, and you're just like, oh, dude. Like, he came in with his engineer and his friend who makes movies and his dog. Just rolled in and was like, hey, okay. And we're like, well, what do you want us to do? He goes, well, what's music?
It was like, it was intimidating just because you're playing for someone who really wants to help you. But, you said that anecdote about another band from London that was just not so hot, like really was misrepresented by their recording. But we pride ourselves on not being that way, being a real honest, good live performance, it sounds good, like, so we just tried to do it right and pretend we were playing a real show instead of sitting in the practice space, and it worked out well.
So tell me about the recording process. So you go into the studio with Ross. What did you guys talk about as the objectives for this record?
Well, it's weird, like, because I was trying to tap Ross's brain before and be like, so what are we going to do? And, like, wouldn't say. He was just like, oh, it's going to be whatever. And so once we got in there, he was just like, he just kind of does it on the fly, which is wild, like, and he just, for him, he sees something in a band that he thinks is special and that he can bring out of them. And he just goes in and, we did 2 weeks of pre-production where we sat in the studio and just reworked drums over and over and over. And like, we'd play a song for him, play it again, and you go, okay, start breaking the drums down, doing, moving stuff around, and it's cool because, you conceptualize a song when you make it, and you're like, well, this is the best I can make it.
Yeah.
And then someone else comes in and goes, well, look at this. This makes it better, or different, or stronger, or whatever. And it's cool because, I mean, we don't usually let people tell us stuff because we're kind of musicians. You don't want people telling you what to do.
We are proud people.
But
we are a proud people.
But it's like, but when you have someone like Ross, you just go, whatever, dude, whatever, what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then you move stuff around and you hear it again, you're like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any desire to make things commercially successful. He wants them to sound really good. Mm-hmm. And with us, he likes the purity of what we make so much that I think his goal in rearranging the beats, changing people's tones and stuff as the record progresses, is to make all our songs as unique as possible and make the sound of this record as unique as possible, and make sure that none of the songs will sound like somebody else, even though we may have originally conceptualized these songs as sounding a little bit like some of our favorite bands that is thrown out the window now. Yeah. He wants it to sound very unique so that no one can step on it and say it's derivative. And he's doing a real good job at that.
Which is cool, and like, he doesn't use a click, which is weird.
I think
it's awesome. But I mean, for someone, for a band that we all try to just make everything perfect, he's like, no, don't make anything perfect. He wants nothing perfect. And while we're tracking drums, we're all in the room with him playing, and he's like, no, play as crappy as you can. We wanted Matt to I don't know, don't play perfect. And when you play perfect, you get mad at him. Yeah. And be like, no, you're playing, no, that sucks. Play crappy.
A click, or the wanting to play, the desire to play perfectly is stress.
Right.
And if he wants us to play without stress, just with pure emotion, or at least the pure concept of the song that you're playing right then. Mm-hmm. He's very much in, he hates saying it because it's so cliche, but in the moment, that's exactly what he wants to do.
I mean, he told us, this is his project and stuff. Yeah. Hopefully, yeah.
It's our songs, but it's his album. It's like,
totally.
Our album too, but it's also his album, and as soon as we're done, he can think about what he can do to help us in that respect. Right. But clearly, thinking ahead is just going to ruin the recording process for him, and to a lesser extent for us. So we all just need to be where we are right now and worry about those little business things at the end of the day when we're not thinking about music.
And in the end, if the record's really good, it'll sell it.
It's going to
be good. If the record's really good.
When the record is good.
We already know it's going to be good. We just it's hard to depend on the taste of the public.
That's true.
I don't really trust them nowadays. But you know what? We got to force it down their throats and tell them that this is good.
Well, you can't deny things that are good, and that's the thing that Ross has always done. Whether him finding Korn and making them humongous stars, or at the drive-in, or Blood Brothers, and these bands that probably should never have been famous.
Yeah, definitely.
Making them who they were and taking them to that next level. When something is good and resonates truth, people respond to it.